One love to the humble, one love to the humble, one love to the humble. Look, I'm gonna get right to it. I'm gonna get right into it. I want to put this disclaimer out there right away. If you have your feelings involved in this, you know what I mean. If you are attached to, if you have your emotions tied to this, then this video might not be the one you want to look at. Now I don't have no clips. I'm not gonna play any clips. I'm not gonna be bouncing back and forth through clips. I'm just gonna talk about it. Most people have seen it by now. If you haven't seen it by now, feel free to go watch it, and then you can come back over here, make a comment, give your opinion, your perspective, if that's what you want to do. But I'm just gonna speak about this from my perspective. Now I'm not taking no sides. I don't have a side. I understand what my channel was about, but in this case right here, um, I'm just speaking straight up what I saw. That's all I'm talking about is what I saw. That's it. I have no other investment in this at all. Just speaking for what I saw, and I'm gonna call it from both sides exactly how I see it, because I'm just gonna tell you how I see it. Now, I looked at the video, and what I noticed is that this is about, in case you don't know already, you should have seen the title, but this is about Sonya Massey. Sonya Massey was shot and unalived. So, um, the thing about it is this right here. The, when what she supposedly did was, they say she called because she had believed that somebody was around her house, doing something around her house. That was the reason why she had called in the first place. So the cops showed up to her house, and they knocked on the door. They knocked on the door more than once to try to get her attention. She didn't come to the door. They said they heard the phone ringing on the inside, and then she finally, after knocking like maybe 2 or 3 rounds of knocking, she eventually came to the door. So when she came to the door, before she came to the door, what you heard was her say, "Who the F is it?" Right? She said, "Who the F is that?" And they said, "This is the whatever sheriff department or something like that, police or whatever." So she can't open the door. They asked her, I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. You can go watch the whole thing. They asked her what was. They asked her. She said that there was she. They hold up, I'm messing up. I'm getting confused here. She came to the door, and they asked her what took her so long to open the door. She said she had to get some clothes on or whatever. And then they got to discussing the reason why they was there was because she wanted to make. She thought she heard somebody outside her house, but the police had already walked around the house, checked everything out, and realized there was no one there. So they told her, "Hey, no one's here." So the one officer asked her about the car that was in her yard, and well, before they asked her about the car that was in her yard, she kept saying, "I need some help. I need some help." They said, "Help for what?" She said, "Nothing." And they kept talking. They kept going on go through the procedures again. Then they asked her. She said it again. "I need help. I need help." They said, "What?" She said, "Nothing." Once again, she said nothing. So then then these gnats are interfering with me so badly. It getting on my nerves. So you see my hands moving around. That's the problem. I'm sorry about that. But so back to the story. She kept saying nothing. Every time they asked her, "What do you need help with?" she said nothing. So then the cops started asking about the car in the driveway. So when they asked her about the car in the driveway, she said she didn't know whose car it was. She said it wasn't her car. So then I guess at that point, police gonna be police. They ran they wanted to check the car, and they asked her for a driver's license. So two things that I noticed right up until this point was that I noticed that something was off with her mentally. Because there was one point the cop asked her about her mental stability. She said something about she took her meds, or she didn't take her meds, or she did take her meds. One of the two. Bottom line is, it was something about her medication. So she was on some type of meds for, I'm sure, something mental. I don't know what it is. I'm not judging her, but that's what it was. It was something medical, something about her mentality, her mental state was the reason why she was on those medications. That's the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed is when they asked her about the car, she claimed she didn't know whose car it was, and somebody had brought the car to her house and dropped it off. Now, hey, most people don't bring cars to your house and drop them off, and you don't know who did it, right? That's typically not what happens. So that was another sign to me that something was going on with her. I'm not saying anything but that. That's what I got from it. So they kept going through the process, kept going through the procedure, and they ended up inside the house at this point. So now they're in the house, and they're talking to her still. She's still not really, it's still not going correctly as far as her mental state. So then the phone rings, and when she get the phone call, it's the sheriff. I guess when she called that, the sheriff was calling back to ensure that somebody had got there to take care of the situation. And she was on the phone with them, and she was like, he said, well, you can talk to the officers that's on the scene. She was like, nah, hold on, I'm not gonna get off the phone. Basically, is what she was saying. And the guy was like, well, you can get off the phone because they're here. Why do you need to stay on the phone? Which, obviously, why would you stay on the phone if the sheriff is already there? There's no need to keep the police on the phone because you've got the police here already. So just kept moving forward, progressing forward. So they asked her for a driver's license, and she didn't want to give up a driver's license or whatever. And the thing I forgot to mention was, as far as the police side, when she couldn't recognize their car and she was having all those issues mentally, they probably was thinking maybe and then she heard somebody supposedly around her house. They probably was thinking either that car, they could have, I don't know this for sure, but they could have been thinking that car was probably somebody around the house. And the fact that she didn't know whose car it was, that's what she said. So that could have been the person that was outside the house. Could have been from the police perspective. I don't know if that's true. That's just my observation. And the other part of it was, but she kept saying she needed help. And they said, what do you need help for? And she kept saying nothing. So then they asked her about anybody being in the house. From the police perspective, from what I observed, it looked like from their side, I see how it could have been. You could have thought that something else was going on, or something was off with the situation. That's what I get. So fast forward, you go ahead and move forward a little bit more. The cop said something about she had a pot on the stove. She had a pot on the stove. I guess it was water or something in the pot, and it was heating it up. And the cop said, hey, you might want to turn it off because we don't want to get no fire here. So she go around to the thing to cut it off. And then the cop moved away from her when she grabbed the pot. And she was like, what are you moving for? He said, well, because you got that hot water, I'm going to get out of the way. Which from a cop's perspective, that could be, people could do anything, especially when you know a person already is not mentally right. People can do anything to you in that scenario. So you got to be careful, right? From the cop's perspective, you got to be careful. You don't want to get burnt by some water. So then, when he said that, she said, oh. And then she started saying, she rebuked him in the name of Jesus. She rebuked him in the name of Jesus. She kept saying stuff like that. Now, if you black, or you've been around black people enough, you know when somebody say they rebuke you in the name of Jesus, they ain't saying nothing good about you. If you know how the black people are, that could be seen as something bad. They consider you bad if they haven't rebuked you in the name of Jesus, right? That ain't always a compliment. So I don't know if that cop understood that or not, but if you're in that situation and you hear that, and you might not know what it is, you could be thinking of something else. You could be thinking of some type of ritual thing. You never know, because different type of black people do different type of stuff. So you never know. But what the cop did was he pulled his firearm out. He pulled his firearm, he pointed at her, right? And he told her, you better effing not, or something like that. And then she was saying, he told her put the pot down. She did. I couldn't see really because they had the body cam on. I can't really see what she was doing 100%. I couldn't 100% see that. But I do know that at that same moment, she crouched down and he shot her. She was like, "I'm sorry," or something she was saying like that, or something. "I'm just playing," or something she said. And then boom, I think that's when the shots went off. You can go watch the other videos to verify. Then it was, the done deal at that point. The cop said, she was a crazy bee. The cop also said something about don't waste a medical thing on her because she's already gone. Which I've been in, had prior military, been in combat. The truth of the matter is, I know this is hard to say because a lot of people out here in the regular world don't really know about this type of stuff and never been in these type of situations, so they might not get it. It seems like a very harsh thing to say, right? But in a combat situation, if a person's already gone and you're pretty much not going to be able to save them, there really is no need to use a medical kit on that person. I mean, it sounds bad, but if they're already gone, there's no point in using. You're not going to be able to save them. They're already gone, and that kit, you can't. There's no purpose, no sense in wasting the kit for no reason. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's the truth. And I'm not saying, I don't know what the reason why that cop said it, but I'm just telling you why, for me, this is how I can see it, right, taking place. So it keeps getting, from that point, they call in, shots fired. Then all of the, you hear in the background, more and more police are showing up. And it's a tragic situation, right? It's very, very tragic when you look at it. And my condolences to the family of Sonya Massey. My condolences to her family. I'm not saying that she should have lost her life. By no means am I saying that. But looking at the scenario, the situation, I believe the cop, he could have probably handled it differently. She could have handled it differently. He definitely could have did something very, very different in his approach and how he went about the situation. Because at one point in the video, it's like they was about to leave. But then, right at that moment, that the cop asked about the car, and that's when the situation changed. Everything changed from there. There was, it was two cops. They was about to go. But then when they started getting into it about that car, that changed the whole thing up. That's when it started going. That was the beginning of the end, right when they started looking at the car. Okay, that was the beginning of the end. So I can understand it from that perspective on how why the cop would be suspicious. I'm not sure. I don't think the cop should have handled it that way. She probably should have never got shot. Not with a firearm, maybe with a taser. That probably made more sense. But in this case, she got shot. She got shot. And the things are going to be, over some boiling water, what everybody's going to say, and things like that. I'm not here to judge either way. I'm not in the courtroom. I don't make the laws. I'm not going to be the one who's judging him. He going to get whatever come to him. I think he probably could have handled it differently. No question about it. But at the same time, the whole situation was messed up. On her end, it was messed up. On his end, it was messed up. I think they both contributed equally to this problem. Yeah, he could have done something about it. She could have too. I'm not gonna say go one way and put all the blame on one person. I'm not gonna do it. They both contributed to this situation, from my viewpoint, from what I see. That's what I see. That's what I took from it. Now this situation right here, it's gonna be a money grab. Because when I saw another interview about this, and guess who I seen right there with the father? Benjamin Crump. Whenever Benjamin Crump shows up, it's about the money. It ain't about nothing else. It ain't about no legal. It ain't about no justice. It ain't about none of that. When Benjamin Crump show up, it's about the dollar bill. He coming to get that money. He gonna get that family some money. He gonna get some money too. He always show up in these situations every single time. He's the one who gonna get the case. He gonna get that money. He gonna put them out there on the trail. Well, not the trail, but he gonna take them around, tour them around, and speak. They gonna get the money. But you gotta remember, man, money ain't always the answer. It helps a lot, but it's not the answer when you have a situation like this that takes place with your family member. It's not the answer. But people will settle for that. You know what I'm saying? They'll settle for the money, and as long as the money right, they'll sweep all that. They'll go with the flow on this because of the money. I'm not saying. I mean, I can't tell nobody what to do, what they should do. If I was in that situation, I probably would want to take the money too. But you gotta remember, man, this is if you really serious about this, you can't be paid, you can't be bought. But Benjamin Crump, he's black, and he's gonna get them the money. He's on all them cases. He's on the Trayvon Martin case. He was on all of them cases. I watched a thing about him, and I seen that what he do. He going for the money. I don't really think he really care about the situation. This is just me talking. I could be wrong, but I believe he gonna get the dollar. Right? He's going to get the dollar. And but I want you to really think about this case. But think about it from this perspective. You ever notice that you can't tell me that the only case that gets national attention is just black people. It's only when black people get killed is when, unalive, is when by police officers is when these things become national news and it's all over the news. It's only then. And it's always only with black people. White people get shot by police too. But it will never reach this level like this case did. This is a money grab for everybody. This is attention and money for everybody that's in on it. It's sad that it happened. I'm by no means saying anything other than that. It's a sad situation. It's very, very tragic. But this is a money grab. And these type of cases, these type of things get used against black people, not for black people. I don't care what you say. They're not using it to help black people. They're using it the wrong way. And it's other black people that's doing it. A white person gets shot, it don't get this much attention at all. And you can't tell me it don't happen. It happens. It just don't get this level of attention. It never will. Because nobody cares. It's only when black people do it. Because it's money to be made. It's positions to be got. It's promotions to be had. It's all of that when it comes to this right here. This is a big deal when it comes to us. Because the black people gonna get money, gonna get paid. Everybody gonna get paid. Now, think about all the gang violence across the United States, in places like Chicago and places like that. Think about how many people are getting murdered. How many mothers are losing sons to that violence right there. How many mothers have sons who committing that violence right there. Benjamin Crump ain't running to jump on them cases, is he? Ain't no money in that. Ain't nothing to be gained from that at all. Nothing. He don't run to help them people out. He not running to jump on them cases. And them cases ain't getting no national attention. They ain't talking about that case at all. So what I've come to realize, I don't think black people really care about black people getting killed. What I think they care about is if it's a police officer that did it. It's the only time it's going to be a big deal. If it ain't that, then I don't think they really care. This is just my take. I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. But if you're going to say I'm wrong, you got to show me something to counter what I'm saying. Because I don't see it no other way. It's tragic what happened to that lady. But what's even more tragic is the way this is going to be used against black people. This is going to be a political grab. They're going to grab on this and further put the dagger in black people. They're going to play on the emotions. This is going to get turned into a race thing. It's not a race situation. It's not about race. This is not a race thing. This is a police officer versus civilian. Ain't nothing about this race. But they're going to turn it into a race. They're going to make it about race. Because when you make it about race, it's money in it. And it's attention. And they know it's going to get black people riled up moving in a certain direction to get them to do what they want them to do. They use these type of situations to corral black people together, and they take their mind off of what's really going on, and they looking at the race thing. And once you get them to go in that direction, you can get them to do anything you want. You can have them on like a puppet on a string. You can make them do whatever you want to do if you can get them emotionally tied to something. And the way you do it is you make it about race. You tell me you think black cops ain't never shot black people? You think black cops ain't never shot white people? Yeah, it's happened. But they ain't nothing to gain from that. So you tell me what you think. And leave your response in the comments. Before we go, I just want to give a moment of silence to Sonya Massey. But I will tell you, it's messed up that it happened, but it's even more messed up the way they're going to use this against black people for their personal gain. R.I.P. to Sonya Massey. May her soul rest in peace. Y'all take care.